Well, brothers and sisters, we thank God for another day. Today we have an amazing testimony, a testimony that is brought to you by a man of God who's an evangelist, a father, a husband, and he has a testimony that was brought to him at a critical time in his life when he suffered a heart attack. But he has a story to tell even before then about his life, how he grew up. So welcome to another edition of He Called My Name. And I'll now hand over to Evangelist Gbenga, who will give us his story. So Evangelist, the first thing I would like to ask there is thank you for joining us and agreeing to this conversation. It's amazing that when I asked you, you are available, ready. No, I have to think about it. You are just ready to do God's work. So I thank God for your life, for your eagerness and your readiness. So tell me, first of all, who are you? Well, tell us about yourself. Who is Evangelist Gbenga?
Yeah, my name is Gbenga Olonshagbon, and I am from Ekiti State. I was raised in a farm. I was a farmer. You know, my parents are farmers, and my mother is just a market man. I'm a market woman. But one thing I want to tell you is I was raised in a community where there was no electricity. Wow. By the time I was writing my high school diploma was when we are having electricity in the city where I come from.
Right.
And that is at the age of 18. We don't have electricity. So I was raised in such a humble environment where we're farmers, we grow coffee and cocoa. Wow. And my father had 3 wives and many children in the house, like up to 20 children. Wow. My mom is the last wife. And one funny thing that happens in my father's house was that there was never a day that I never witnessed one day where my mom or my dad, they are fighting, or the 3 wives. Wow. There was never a day that they were fighting. And this is so unique. When I grew up to have my own family too, when I was having problem with my wife and I had to be calling my mom to be seeking information, advice from her. How do you manage to live in that environment with 3 wives in the house and my dad? There was never a day I had any problem with going on in the house. But my mom just told me that, it's as a result of the fact that we don't let you children know we do fight. And they will know how to manage everything. So one thing I want to say today is that I happen to come through such a family where there are a lot of struggles, everybody looking for attention. And the special grace of God, God saved me through all of that. But I become wayward, I become crazy, I was so bad, and not because of I have good family upbringing, but I just chose to be bad. And I did all manner of bad stuff. And then one thing I want to tell you is my conversion was tremendous. Initially, I wanted everything I want in my life. I believe I can make things happen because I thought I was so smart. And but now I want to go to college. There was no money, and I don't want to depend on my parents because they are getting too old. Yes. And I've been struggling to go to college for 4 years. I couldn't get to university. And I remember one day I just spoke to God that if you can help me that I go to college this year and I don't have to depend on my family or anybody in my family for money to go to school, yes, that if I graduate, I will use the certificate to serve him. That was a promise.
Were you raised as a Christian?
Yeah, we're Christian. You know how you can be a Christian, but you never even know who is Jesus. Yeah. Being a Christian, but never know who is Jesus. We're Christian.
Did you go to church as a child?
Yeah, my parents are Anglican.
Okay.
We go to church, and we go to church, and my parents are Anglican. We go to church we go to church usually just to go and have fun, to go and play. So there's no any special encounter with Jesus. I don't even have no relationship with Jesus. But I end up being, doing whatever I just want to do, just as just somebody that chooses to be rebellious.
But Evangelist, there's something in what you're saying that parents should take note of. Just because you're taking your child to church doesn't mean you leave it like that. It says you must train up the child in the way that they should go. So just don't be comfortable that, my child goes to church, he follows me. The training has to still be at home in addition to what's happening in the church. Because you were going to church with your parents were committed Anglicans, but still you did not have a personal encounter with Jesus. And it's
No.
important that people understand that your children have to be led to Christ by you. It's not going to happen just by them sitting in church. You have to explain to them, lead them to Christ, and encourage them and teach them, because that's what the Bible tells us. So it's an
Yes.
important point that you're highlighting for us. So please carry on, sir.
Yeah, the point is we were Anglican, and you know how people can be going to church just for more or less like what people are doing right now with the gospel churches. That is more church is almost reduced to just social networking.
Yes.
And you know, my parents they don't have special relationship with God other than just to go there and nominally. And my parents they don't have any education, and they can't even read the Bible by themselves, but they always go to church. And but one thing I just want to tell you is I have no relationship with Jesus. I just don't know him. I just go to church. I'm just a nominal Christian.
Right.
That I don't have no special relationship with him.
Yes.
So, and this cannot even help you to go to anywhere. So I started having problem when I wanted to write my high school diploma, and there were a lot of oppression. When I sleep, I kind of be having a kind of nightmare, having a kind of trouble with my health. And one of my brothers is a medical office, is a medical practitioner. He said maybe I might be having jaundice or something, and they diagnosed a lot of things that was the problem. But there was never a day that they treated me for all those things they diagnosed. And I keep on going with life like that, and until I wanted to go to college. That I've been out there for 4 years trying to go to university, and there was no money. Yeah, through my I tried to also to work hard to save money to go to university, but I couldn't piece things together. And you know where we come from in Africa, if you don't have tuition fees, there's no school for you. There's no all this financial aid that we have in the Western world. Yes. If you don't have school, if you don't have tuition fees, there's no school for you. And so you just have to pay it through your registration pay, and then you can go to school. So I don't have money. So now it's been like I've been out there for 4 years, having all the good grades to go to college. All of my, all of my friends have been in college, and I was out there doing all kind of barber businesses, and I couldn't go to college. I was looking for money just to be able to go to college, but I couldn't make it happen. I couldn't make it happen because I don't have enough. So due to this frustration, and my parents are getting old, and I made up my mind I don't want to even take anything from my dad because he's getting very old, and my mom too. So now one day, I was at the library in Badagry.
I'm sorry, Evangelist, your camera has gone off. Okay, it's back now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, some people. So I'm getting some call from people. When call comes in, it's just kicking me off. Yeah. So and. One thing I can just say is that due to frustration to go to college, one day when I was studying in one public library in Badagry, to go to college again to write my public exam, that we call it JAM, Joint Matriculation Examination to go to college. It's like what people take in the UK, they call it maybe you have to take advanced level, A level,
Okay.
or
so this
SAT.
is the qualification you take to go to university or to go to college.
So you have to take that before you go to. So in America, you take SAT and all of that, GMAT, all of that. So I have to take this exam this year. My problem is not how to pass the exam. I usually pass this exam every year, but the problem is finance for the school, the tuition fees. So out of my frustration that year, I came out from the public library while I was hanging out by myself. I said, God, if you can help me this year, and I pass this exam, and I have finance to go to the university without having to ask anything from my parents, then if I graduate from college, from this university, I will use this certificate to serve him. Wow. I just said that. It's not prayer. I was just speaking. I was just self-talking out of my frustration. And I just said, if you help me to go to university and I'm able to go through the university for 4 years without asking money from my parents, if I graduated from the university, I will use the certificate to serve him. That's what I said.
Wow.
And guess what? That's it. I didn't know I've said something that was fundamental, and my dreams changed. I went because I was like all into all Baba stuff as at that time. I was doing a lot of smuggling across the Nigerian border to the Republic of Benin, selling, selling gas, selling all kind of things across the border, smuggling, just to be able to make ends meet, just to be able to save money to go to college. So, and while I was doing all this Baba stuff, having a lot of women, a lot of girlfriends, having all kind of Baba stuff I was doing around. So, but one thing I want to say is the moment I said that thing out of my mouth, my dream, if I sleep in the night, my dream change.
Wow.
My life change. There are a lot of things I wanted to do. I cannot just do it. And to the point that I have to tell one of my girlfriends, I told people that I'm born again. Everybody were laughing. They said, with all this girlfriend cruising this house, up to 4 or 5 different girlfriends you have. I said, the one test area that my friend said, we're going to know if you are born again for sure. If none of your girlfriends, you can do away with all of them. So one by one, I started telling every one of them, I'm born again. I want to turn my life over. I've turned my life over to Jesus. I don't want to be involved in any of this thing no more. I look for a nearby church. I started going to church. And guess what? That year I have, just like my prayers and my promise to God, I passed the exam that year. I went to college. I went to university, Lagos State University for 4 years. And I told my mom not to let my dad know that, please, I'm going to university this year. And it's going to be a journey of 4 years. I don't expect money from you. Don't send money to me. And don't let anybody know, because if they know, they want to participate in what I'm doing. I want to see how far God can help me. I want to see how far God can help me. And I told my mom, even you are the only one that is allowed to know about what I'm doing. I don't want any of my brother to know. I don't want any of my family to get to know about this. I don't want my dad to know about it, because if they know, they want to send money to me. I say, I want to see how far God can help me.
So Evangelist, so let me get this. Your salvation experience is you just cried out to God one day in your desperation, and He changed you. That's it.
Yeah. I just said, just like opening is not prayer. I just said something I just said, God, if you can help me, if I can go to university for 4 years and without crashing, dropping out, if you can help me, I will come out to use this certificate to serve you.
So and the bad dream stopped. You were able.
My bad dream stopped, and there are a lot of things that I know that I wanted to share with some of my friends. Baba thing I'm doing the secret with one of my girlfriends. If I wanted to say it to people, I would be afraid. My heart will be pounding. I can't say it. So now, when I get to the university, I join a local prayer groups. They were
something wonderful about what you're saying there. This is very important. Yes. What you're saying. So you spoke to God, and then in that speaking to God, you committed something to Him. You said, "I'm going to serve you." So you actually put your faith in Him, and it says in the Bible, "If your faith is like a mustard seed," and so you showed faith in Him, and you even gave Him a promise. So you gave yourself to Him. So it's like, it's not the typical salvation experience, but this is important, because once you speak to God and you commit to Him, that is the salvation process. And I like what you were saying as well, because you were saying now the appetite for bad things started dying. You started liking those things. And it says that, you said gradually, the women, the bad business, the smuggling, you gradually started stopping it.
I give them all.
You know the wonderful thing about that, I want to use this to encourage people, because sometimes when you receive your salvation, immediately you stop the bad habits. Sometimes for some people it's a process. It takes time, and it happens gradually. So people should not say, you're born again, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Because once you receive salvation, and that salvation gives you deliverance, so you are delivered from so many things, and God saved us on the cross through Christ's death and resurrection. That's how we receive salvation. Then, after salvation, you then have sanctification. And that means you're now set apart. You now feel different. You don't have the appetite for certain things. And you become a vessel, and the Holy Spirit enters your life. That can also take time. And then that sanctification is a lifelong process. Even those of us who have been born again for decades, we still have to go the process of, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. I have to repent of that. So nobody should feel that, okay, once you're born again, it's perfection. It's a journey where you go through crucifying your flesh. You have to crucify your flesh. And it sounds like, from what you said, you had an encounter with the Holy Spirit that crucified your flesh and you stopped liking those things. So it's an important point to make so people understand the salvation process. Once somebody has given their life to Christ, sometimes it is immediate. They stop smoking, they stop drinking. Sometimes it takes time, and you should support them and pray for them and guide them and feed them and disciple them. Because sometimes they don't know what they're doing is wrong and they just have some bad habits. But you have to pray and then teach them how to now sanctify themselves in their life. So thank you for sharing that. Please carry on.
So immediately, all my friends, they found it so strange that how did this happen? Because I was still living with them. None of them was my mentor. All of them, they found it so strange that he was able to get rid of all his girlfriend. But there's one of my girlfriend that everybody loves so much. Even myself, I love this girl and I respect her so much.
How many girlfriends did you have? How many?
I have like 4 girlfriends that time.
Wow.
So now remaining 1. And when I get rid of the remaining 3, and I have like 4, and I see cheating with some of them that I cannot even call girlfriend. I get rid of all of them, but now remain this 1. So everybody respect that lady, and myself, I respect her so much. Very, very nice person. But everybody now, all my friends say, if you can get rid of all every other ones, but this one, please don't get rid of her. I just said something from my mouth. I don't know where it comes from. I say, among the children of snake, which one can you trust and put in your pocket?
Wow.
So I say, if I take this one, it's still going to drag me down. I said, the best thing to do is to get rid of all of them. It was so difficult for me, but when the girl come, I told her what the problem was, but she thought because you are an undergraduate in the university now, you found somebody, you found another girl over there. Now I'm no longer considered good enough for you. I said, that's not what happened. I'm giving my life to Christ. I don't want to have no girlfriend no more. And I want to live a holy life. So, and that was it. And I joined a fellowship on campus. There is a church called Redeemed Christian Church of God in Nigeria, and they are everywhere. So I joined this group of prayer. This group of people, they are intercessors.
Okay.
We have 2 fellowship of that church on the campus. So this particular group, they are intercessory groups. Yes. They call them resistance movement. They are out to resist the infiltration of dark kingdoms or gangsterism, occultism among the students, undergraduates. So I joined them.
So they are called them resistance move, you call them?
They call a resistance movement. That's what they call it.
Because in some the universities in Nigeria, there's occultism, there's gangs, there's lots of violence, there's lots of witchcraft that is involved, and it destroys the lives of many people. So this prayer group was against that.
This arms of fellowship was designed purposely to intercede their intercessors, to be praying against all this gangsterism going on campuses, right? Especially where the Lagos State University, we have a lot of gangsters and cultics practices going on there. So, and I joined them, and the first day I joined them, we were praying in the evening, and there was this brother that was leading us in the prayer. He said, we should pray that our God is a God of a consuming fire, that we should use that as a prayer point to consume all the cultist activities and all of the things that bad things that are going on the campus. So we prayed that prayer. By the time I got home, I opened my Bible. I don't know how to read my Bible yet. I don't know. I just opened to anywhere and I started reading. So there I opened to the book of Hebrews chapter 12. I was reading it. By the time to the end of that chapter, Hebrews chapter 12 verse 29, he said, for our God is the God of a consuming fire. I said, oh, so this word was taken from this brother literally take the word, a verse from the Bible for us to pray at the campus. I said, wow, I didn't know that Christians can do that. So now that night I stay on that verse. Our God is a God of a consuming fire. I used it to pray that night. I didn't know that night God was preparing me already. That night I found myself I was dreaming. I can say I was dreaming, but I found myself in a big auditorium. and I was in the ceiling of that auditorium. I was wondering, why am I in the ceiling? This place looks so good. There are a lot of people, they sit, there's a rug, there's an executive seat, people are, neatly dressed. That place looks so nice. But I was not part of the people that was seated there. I was sitting in the roof of that place, and I was looking down at what was going on in that place. I was wondering, wow, it looked like a big church. It looked like a cathedral church. Right. So, but I was wondering, why am I in the roof? I should be among these people. Yes. And suddenly I heard a silence. And suddenly they just said the meeting started. And I heard the first person on our agenda hit list that must die tonight. They just mentioned my name. I said, what have I done? Who are these people? And they now said the reason why they have to kill me. They said the information I know between me and my ex-girlfriend, I am about to go on campus to begin to share it among the fellowship, so that they're going to be praying, that fellowship is going to be praying an aggressive prayer against their kingdom. I said,
so God took you inside the occultic meeting to see their
prayer. I was in it, and suddenly the Bible portion I read before I went to bed, for our God is a God of a consuming fire, the same word came out from my mouth in the middle of their meeting. I just said, for our God is a God of a consuming fire, and fire started coming out from my mouth into that kingdom. And guess what? Everywhere catch fire. And they now disappear. And now they now let me down into that auditorium. And I begin to ask questions. But where are the rugs? Where are the chairs? That was the day I began to hear the voice of the Lord. And they begin to instruct me about all those chairs. They are people. They are blind witches. They use people as a seat. They are possessed of the spirit of witchcraft, but they cannot see themselves. They are blind witches. What about the rug? They say they are human beings that will lay down as rug, and all those things. And guess what? When I recovered from that, I woke up. I went to the fellowship. I confessed all of my secret dealings with my ex-girlfriend. I told her to the prayer. To the leader of the leadership of that fellowship, and they prayed with me. They supported me. Guess what? My ministry started on campus. I started preaching the gospel.
So can I ask you are not a member of a cult, were you?
No, I was never a member of a cult. But my girlfriend, something had happened prior to that time. One of my girlfriend, one of those girls that I told her I'm no longer interested. This girl, there was a night I was playing with this girl. The girl just told me something very strange. She told me that she really loved me. She wanted to marry me. But if I can take her to church, that she can conduct deliverance for her. And then she will be qualified to be able to marry me. That otherwise she cannot marry me in her state. That her status is having double status. I said, what do you mean by that? She said she's of the marine, she belongs to marine kingdom, that she's from the marine kingdom. When she said things like that, I was scared. And he said, but when she was explaining this to me, she suddenly changed, her countenance changed. And she just turned suddenly, started running. I was running after, what's the problem? Wait, she just left me. And the following day, I went to her house. He said, never in my life should we be talking about what we talked about yesterday night. He said she regretted telling me all those informations. Because when she started telling me all those information, she was telling me this information of you. She knows pastors around that are deliverance minister. And she didn't know that I was just a nominal Christian. I don't know nothing of that. So I started turning it into a joke. I was singing. I was trying to make fun of her. I was making jest of her, and her countenance just changed. She left. So, but she told me that for making fun of her yesterday, that was what saved me. I said, what happened? He said there was a destroying forces that come from her kingdom to kill me. He said, but because I don't have a clue as to where to take her to. If I had promised that tomorrow let us go and meet a pastor, or if I had promised her that I'll be taking her to a pastor for the deliverance, I said they will have killed me instantly. He said, but what saved me was that I was making jest of her. What saved me was that I don't have a clue of where to take her. I didn't make mention of any way to help her out of her situation.
You see, what you're saying has two things that is inside what you're saying. The first thing is that those who are serving Christ, who are passionate about Christ, this is why sometimes we have challenges, because they want us to become ineffective. When you're just nominal, you're lukewarm, they don't bother so much with you. So those who are serving, who are saying, why I'm serving God, why am I facing these challenges? They have to be reminded that yes, these, as he told us, challenges will come, tough times will come, but lo, I'm with you always to the very end. To the very end. That's the first thing. The second thing, we're talking about the kingdom of darkness, and sometimes we have to expose them. We have to make them naked, because that takes away their power. So there could be somebody who is watching this, and one of the number one thing they do, once they initiate you, they swear you to secrecy. Don't say, don't talk. The day you speak about it is the day your deliverance comes, if you speak to the right person. And so if there's somebody watching this, you want to be free, the first thing you need to do is you need to confess Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. He will come himself. Once you call his name, he turns up. And those people who are around people who are suffering from this, I mean, I know this from counseling people in church. The first thing they'll say is, don't tell anybody, don't tell anybody. Once you tell anybody, we'll kill you. If you tell anybody, we'll destroy you. If you tell anybody, we'll kill your family. So this is what they use to intimidate you. But with Jesus, Jesus overcomes the whole world, including them. Yeah. So the fact that she spoke, she must have been afraid, because the number one thing you're taught to do once you are in occultism is to don't say. Keep our secret. If you expose our secret, because once it's exposed, that is when the consuming fire can hit it. And when the consuming fire hits it, it dies. So don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. Jesus Christ is the only way. There's no way apart from Jesus Christ. So if you are in occultism now, you're watching this, and you're looking at us and saying, well, that is their own side. For me, I cannot say. The thing is, what they do is they also make you do shameful things, disgusting things to initiate you. So that is what it is to blackmail you. So you feel ashamed, because they will threaten to expose all your secrets that you've done. But Jesus said, the mercy of God is so wonderful. Once you have repented, your repentance, and you say, this is bad, I don't want to do it anymore, and you've given your life to Christ, that's when your deliverance comes. So don't be intimidated by them. Don't be afraid of them. He is the one who is in charge of the world. Yes, there is a prince of this world, but there's also a king of kings. And the king of kings is the one that has the power. So what you're saying is it's very rich what you're saying. I really appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. Because I feel people watching this, they can be intimidated by occultism. Jesus is the power. Jesus is the power. Shouldn't be scared of anything or anybody, no witch at all. They have a certain power, but there's a higher power. And once you have faith in that power, that higher power will show up for you. Please carry on, sir.
So, and I don't know, these people, the kingdom of darkness, they are so connected, they have information. How did they know that what is in my mind? I wanted to go up tomorrow. I've made up my mind. I'll be confessing everything I know about them in the fellowship. And they decide to kill me that night before. So, one thing I want to say, the moment I confessed this, I started telling, I have liberty, I have freedom. And one funny thing was that when I come across this girl, she was running. She's not ready to look at me. She was running. She's not even ready to look at my face at all. So what am I saying? Immediately, I became an evangelist in that house. It's a Muslim compound. I begin to win souls. And things is going to happen. God is going to reveal some things to me. And before you know it, the Muslim people, they say, I'm taking too many of their children to church. They kick us out of the house. And we move out of that place, we find a better place. But one thing I want to tell you, this is the journey of my Christian walk with God, with the Lord. For 4 years, I was a serious evangelist, winning souls everywhere, here and there, going to cities, to villages, organizing crusade. And by almost the 40th year, before my graduation, 3 months to my graduation, when my senior brother now called me, we heard that you are attending School of Theology. When are you going to go to university? You promised to go to university in those days. I said, in 3 months, I'll be graduating. They said, when did you start? I told them I started 4 years ago. And nobody knows about it. I said, yeah. Why don't I say it's a promise between me and my God that I don't want any one of you to know, because if you know, you want to assist me. but I want to see how far God can help me. And guess what? For 4 years, I won a lot of souls. A lot of people that I won for Christ. Some of them have even become pastor and evangelist, prophet. This was going, but the moment I graduated from the university, one of my friends come from overseas, from Europe. He came to Nigeria. He wanted to do business. His family has messed with his business. He called me to come and help him with his business. I started selling the car, making money, and gradually forgetting, started telling small little lie, compromise here, compromise there. In no time, I fall completely. I fell. And guess what? It was so terrible. I started initially making a lot of money. Everything was good for me, but in no time, I was selling. The more I sell cars, the more I go into debt. And I was selling. Sales was not the problem, but I can't account for where my money is going. And I was telling lies. I started all bad things. I appreciate guests. I went back to them. Started doing all those bad stuff. And guess what? Debt was coming left and right. I began to owe a lot of people money. And there was so much trouble going on. My life, I could no longer sleep as I used to sleep, and God will minister to me. I can no longer hear nothing. Wow. I now return to an ordinary church goer, church member. Some of the people that I want to Christ, they now begin to come back. You led us to Christ, now you return back to business. So what type of life is this? We need you to come back. God needs you. I say I'll be supporting churches with money. But guess what? While I was cruising around with money, but I was living in constant fear, and I was going to heavy debt. One of those days, I went out of Lagos to go and sell car. I arrived in the village in the middle of the night. I said, let me pass the night in one of my friend's house. There I had heart attack.
Wow.
As I have heart attack, I saw myself coming out of my body, and I looked back at myself. I said, if I am dead, God forgive me my sin. I saw angels. They took me. As light, if you die, you're going to see yourself coming out of your body. You see, I was as light as a feather in the hand of the angel that was taking me away. I saw heaven, so beautiful. I said, can bad people like me come to heaven? They said, no, you are going to hell. I moved from there. I stood on my feet at the gate. The angel dropped me. I stood on my feet, and I was speaking English. Guess what they did?
Can I ask you something? So,
yes,
you were in your friend's house. You had a heart attack.
Yes.
Immediately you came out of your body. You were looking at your body.
Yes.
And then you said that God should forgive you for your sins.
Yeah, I say if I'm dead, God should forgive me my sin, because I've never had that type of experience in my life. And I look up, I saw angel. I said, oh man. So they took me. So by one thing I want to tell you. Many
angels or one angel?
The angel, they came to take me away.
More than one.
The angel that were coming like when I look up, it's like they pour water coming on your head. I cannot number the numbers of the angel that was coming. The fastest one took me by my leg. I was taking me away, and I was saying, God, forgive me my sin. The heaven is so beautiful.
What does it look like? Tell me what it looks like.
Nothing can you compare heaven with. Nothing. It's so perfect and it's so bright. You cannot see the light. You cannot see the glow. You cannot see It's so bright and beautiful. Nothing can we compare it to. I say, can bad person like me come here? They say, no, you're going to hell. You're only meant to see this place. This where you're supposed to come, but you're going to hell. Guess what?
The angels talked to you and said that to you.
No, I didn't hear. I didn't see who is talking to me. I was hearing the voice talking to me. So the angel now take me and drop me. It dropped me. It just dropped me. I stood on my feet, and I saw a giant. I was standing before a giant gate. Like if you are approaching Walmart or most of these grocery stores, they have this type of technology. The sensors, if you're approaching a door, the sensor is going to just automatically open the door for you.
Yes.
The same technologies at the gate of hell.
And so there is a real gate of hell, just like Jesus said, the gates of hell are not with us. There's a real gate of hell.
I was standing right there on my feet. I was speaking English. I was saying, God, forgive me my sin. Do you know what I heard in my own language? I heard in my own language, you are welcome. You are one of those people that have been sent into the world to go and preach the gospel. You have refused. Should you refuse to mend your ways, you will come and spend the rest of your life here. That's the voice that I heard.
In Yoruba.
In Yoruba. You are welcome, ẹ káàbọ̀. Ẹ̀yin wọ̀nyí la rán níṣẹ́ sílé ayé láti lọ gbàdúrà fáráyé aláti jí ìrere fún ènìyàn. Tẹ́ bá kọ̀ tẹ́ kò bá ronúpìwàdà, ẹ wàá lo ìkẹyìn ayé ní bíbá. Meaning that you are welcome. You are one of those people that have been sent into the world to go and preach the gospel and to pray for mankind. You have refused. Should you refuse to mend your ways, you're going to come and spend the rest of your life here. When I heard that voice, there was a storm coming behind me. That storm, we don't have it in Africa. We call it wine wind in Africa. But wine wind in Africa is something we play with. But it is called tornado. It's when I get to when I get to America that I see that wind that actually build me up my field. You know, wine wind, tornado is not something you can play with. But in Africa, we can play with wine wind. Wine wind, you can pour water on it. But this one is coming so heavy. It kicked me off my feet, my sister. And I fell. I was being taken. Hell, I didn't see fire. But it's a heat. Heat that's so strong that can make any iron. Heat that can melt iron. If they put iron there, it's going to turn to water immediately. Heat. And the only one language in hell is have mercy. That's it. Nobody cares.
You heard people saying that.
Have mercy. Yeah, that's what. And me too. I started, you know, my prayer at the gate was, God forgive me my sin. Inside the hell is have mercy. Because that's the only one thing you can utter. Have mercy. Have mercy.
Did you see
have
people
mercy.
inside?
I'm telling you, you cannot number. I can't tell you how big hell is. They were bouncing me like ball. It's like you land in Manchester. You are in England. I mean, you are in Great Britain, right?
Yes.
It's like you landed in Manchester like ball. You go up and land in Liverpool and go up and land in Scotland for you to see how big it is. Royalty, rich people, famous people, shouting, have mercy. Religious people of the world shouting. Maybe they'll be shouting like maybe 200 years or 500 years. I can't say how long. For me, that period of the time I spent there was like I spent 100 years. And guess what? It's just in less than 3 hours. Every of my experience is less than 3 hours. When they, at the end of the day, they say they give me a second chance to go back. Will I come back?
So let us focus on this. One of the things you said, you saw religious people there, and it tells us in the word that he
famous people. Famous people.
Can you name them? Can you name them?
I don't recognize anyone, but great people are in the hell, shouting and yelling. So, but one thing I want to tell you, the moment I recover from that, I get off, I jump out of my bed. It was like somebody poured gallons of water on me. If you bed wet, you're going to say maybe your private area is a place that wet. But the bed, you can see the mark of from my head to my toe, soaked from my head. As I get up from the bed, you can see the mark of my leg, of my head, soaked. The bed soaked down. Not if you bed wet, you can be saying maybe you bed wet from my head to my toe.
Where did the water come from?
From I may be sweating, or I don't know. I must have been sweating, or I was soaked. And the temperature of my body when I wake up that time, the temperature of my body is still wow. I don't know if I didn't take the temperature of my body. But one thing I can tell you is it's a terrible experience.
You were hot.
Yeah, it was so terrible.
Okay,
it's so terrible that
the thing I wanted to ask you about is the Bible tells us that people will say, I served you, I called people to Christ. And at the end of the day, he will say, get away from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you. And so you saw Christians in hell. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that one thing I want to tell you is Christian is nickname. And if you are, it's either you are like behaving like Christ or you are not. That's it.
Simple.
So it's You don't have to say you are if you are a Christian. It's a nickname. You know, the nickname Christian in Europe, I think it's in Greece. These people behave like Christ. Are you behaving like Christ? It's either you are behaving like Christ or you are not. That's it. Going to church is not what will save you. Do you behave like Christ? Being a bishop is not enough. Are you behaving like Christ? Not the title. That's the reason why you were asking whether I should put pastor or evangelist. I'm just simply myself. Because Jesus Christ will call Jesus Christ by Jesus Christ, by his first and the last name. Can you see that?
I see that, and I understand that, because one of my mentors was telling me, he was saying that what was the title of Peter? What was the title of Paul? They had no title. They just said, I Paul, an apostle. That's all. I Paul. They just had their first name. And so I get where you're coming from. I understand that. And sometimes people hide under that title of pastor.
A lot of people will be offended if you do. Yeah, they'll be offended if you cannot put their title on their name. Yeah. So, but one thing I want to say is, when I started again, oh man, I left all my business. I left everything. I walked away. So, and I went to the ghetto because they said I should go to ghettos. You know, to the criminal like me, to the deceiver like me.
Who told you
I know them when I see them.
Who told you to go there? Who told you to go to them?
I heard a voice that said I should go start preaching, bringing people to Christ from the ghetto.
So when you were, did you hear that voice in hell, or did you hear that voice in heaven? Where did you hear that voice?
Yeah, at the hell, they said it. Go bring the people from all of the prostitute, the drug addict, the gangbangers, the worst people that can come to church and they're not going to have offering. That church don't even have time for all those people. So, and I returned. So, and now I joined the local churches to help them. But I will tell the local churches, I will just be helping you with your sanitation department, helping you bringing people to church, organizing events, bringing, people from the, but I see, this is what I've been doing, bringing people from the streets to church, and I was doing all of that. And eventually I heard a voice, another one night, you are doing a very good job. Your next assignment is going to be in US. I spoke back, I said, I don't know anybody in US. And I heard a voice, if you know me alone and be doing what you're doing, you will be going to US. And you not only US, when you finish in US, you're going to be going to another country called Mongolia. I said, US, I know. Mongolia, I've never had. I jumped out of my bed, I wrote it down. And the conversation continued. I heard a voice, do you really want to see America? I said, yeah. And that night, I found myself in my dream in American environment. And I heard a voice, I'll be bringing America to you, just look at their continents. And when I was seeing them, I've never seen this type of people in my life. Black, white, some look like Japanese, some look like Chinese. In my country, we are just black like this. I have no, this America. I said, what type of America is this? That are like Chinese, Japanese, India, all kind of people. It's good people. And they were looking so sad. And eventually I heard the voice, what have you seen? I said, I see good people, but they look so sad. I don't know what's going on in their country. And I heard the voice, I'll be taking you to that country. These are the people I want to be sending you to, so that if you see them by their continents, you will be able to go and minister to them. These are not, and guess what? I said in my dream, I said, I have, at the university, I have a friend that won visa lottery. He went to United States of America. His name is Ido Adeniro. I lost contact with him for 5 years. I didn't know what he's doing in America. And I heard the voice. If you do what you are doing, you don't need to know anybody for you to go to America. I will take you there. Guess what? When I woke up, I started preaching the gospel, and I started telling people I'll be going to America. They're going to be saying, when are you going? I said, I don't know. When God said I should be ready to go, He will organize it. A lot of people say, if you hear you are going to America, you're supposed to go and be looking for an American visa. I say, no. God said it. He's going to work it out. He just said, if I continue to do what I'm doing, So I continued doing what I was doing. But one thing happened. After like 3 months, I was going to night prayer because I love to go to night vigil every night, because the place where I'm living right now is more or less ghetto. And it's one room apartment with up to 6 people, crowded. And I prefer to go and pray in the night while those people are sleeping. When I come back in the morning, they will have gone to work there. I'll come and sleep. I wake up and go out to go and do evangelism in the bus transportation in Lagos. So it's what I was doing. And guess what? I was going to this night prayer one night, and I heard a voice. But I usually see a lot of people queuing in the front of a particular building. Every night I'm going to night prayer. I don't care. I don't know what they are doing, and I don't want to care. I don't care to ask about it. But that night I heard, go ask them what they are doing there. So I went there. I asked those kids. They were teenager, young people lining up, and were saying, I said, what are you people doing here? They said they are browsing. I said, what is browsing? They said they get on computers to do what? And they were asking, you're asking too many questions. If you want to know, go get yourself a computer also and come, and we're going to give you something here. So, but what am I saying? That was myself. I graduated from university. I don't even know anything about computer. So I came one night to come and play with the computers too. I don't even know how to go about nothing about computer. So one day I was going the street of Lagos. I think I preached in one bus transportation. I came down and I saw a lady jingling a bell, buy computer. Learn computer, 300 naira, learn computer, 300 naira, 3 hours. So I thought about it. I said, I don't even know anything about computer. Let me go and learn computer if it is that so cheap. So, and I paid 300 naira. And they put us on 3 hours training, and they gave me the basic education on computers. So there I have access to computer. I can play with the computer. So I get on the computer. I was playing, chatting. I was in the chatting room. There I met one lady who was asking me all kind of ridiculous questions because I was preaching through the chat room. I was doing all sorts of things on there. There I find this girl who was asking me, are you African? I say yes. Where in Africa? I say Nigeria. She was asking me questions if the place is jungle. I said there's no jungle here. And she started asking me questions. She gave me her telephone number, and I exchanged phone number with her too. And she said I should write letter to her house. So I said, okay. I kept the address and the telephone number. By the time I don't know how I put the number. After like 9 months, I don't even have access to the computer no more. Then I had a dream, but terrible things is happening. People are dying and going to hell. It's like I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing enough. So I packed my stuff. I said, I'm leaving that city of Lagos. I'm going to the south part of Nigeria. So I moved to south part of Nigeria in this city called Calabar in south part of Nigeria. When I got there, I was in an hotel trying to look for accommodation. I want to rent a place for me to start the ministry, to be doing what I used to do the work of evangelist, bringing people to church. And the third night, I was sleeping. I heard a voice. What have you come to do in this city? I said, I come to do the work of the missionary to help people coming to church. I heard a voice. Your assignment in Lagos has not finished. Oh. You should go back to Lagos. So when I woke up, I went to the nearby churches. Deeper Life and Assembly of God churches. The end of the year party is going on in the church. So I asked them, I seek counsel from them. They say, if you hear the voice like that, you don't need there's no counseling for you other than go back to where you're coming from. Yeah. So I packed my stuff. While I was packing my stuff, the address that this lady gave to me 9 months ago fell down because I wrote it in a small little paper like that. And I just stored it away. I looked for that address in Lagos. I couldn't find it. But now I find this address. And I said, wow, before this address disappear again, let me just write a letter and post it at the post office to her before it disappear again. And guess what? That's what I did. And guess what? After like 2 weeks, I got a telephone call. Somebody was calling me from overseas. I said, who are you? Because there are a lot of scam going on in Nigeria. Yeah. I was thinking maybe it's all these scammers that is calling my number. So I said, who are you? He said, he wants to speak with the person that sent letters with the passport photograph. I said, who is this? Who am I speaking with? He just mentioned her name. He described the mail I said, oh, that's me. I said, I didn't know that the letter can get to America so fast. He said, yeah, I received your. And we started talking. And guess what? I didn't know she's going to be calling me two, 3 times a day, spending 30 minutes with me. You know, we became friends and like that. In a period of 6 months, she is asking a lot of so many questions. I begin to talk to her about what the situation is in Nigeria. So one day she saw one cloth like this Kampala. There's kind of a Nigeria attire called tie and dye. You know, she said she loved it. She found it online. Said if I can get that for her, I bought it and I shipped it to her. And guess what? She became friend. And in the church where I was serving, so there are a lot of pressure from female, from girls. You know, I told the pastor I am not single, and because I don't want anybody to say they have dream that I'm going to be their husband or all of that. So I said, I'm not single. I told the pastor. And those guys were troubling the pastor too. And they will come and meet me. And some of them is going to be saying, I had a dream. You're going to be my husband. I said, I told your pastor, I am not single. They're going to be asking me, so who is the lucky lady? I told them I'm talking to somebody on the internet. They say, who have you seen that have ever done that before? I said, I don't know. But somebody is talking to me every day, wasting her money to talk to me for 1 hour, 2 hours. So you mean I should just kick this person out of my life like that? I said, that is not fair. So they're going to be telling me too, it's not fair that they are here flesh and blood. I'm talking to somebody on the computers. So, and guess what? My wife today, then she was my friend. She just called me one day, say, I wanted to come to your country to look at it for 4 days. So I want to see how Africa look like. So I said I should send an invitation letter for her to get a visa. So I sent an invitation letter to her, and she got a visa. She bought a ticket. She came, you know, and from the airport, she was so, I said, wow, surprised. I said, this is Lagos. I said, she said, this is Africa. I said, this is Lagos, Nigeria. So, wow, it's beautiful here. So when we got to the house, he said, wow, this is your house? I said, yeah. He said, can I spend 2 months here? I said, you better call your people to spend 2 months here. Call your parents. So she called her parents. So, and usually I told her what I do. I'm an evangelist. I told her where I used to go and preach. So the following day, she called her people and said, I'm in Africa. I'll be staying here for 2 months. So, and the following day, I prepared. I started to evangelism. So, but one thing it was that I was feeling so disgusted. I felt that no, I can't marry this type of person because she smoke and she drink. So, and when I take out this, all my pastors say, yeah, we told you, these people cannot help you. You can't marry somebody like this. He's going to ruin your ministry. He's going to destroy you. So I make up my mind. I just see that how God spoke to Joseph concerning Mary in the Bible was true. So I made up my mind. I'm going to talk to her. You are smoking, you are drinking. I can't have somebody like you, to marry. And I just heard a voice. Keep your mouth shut. Don't even say a word to her.
Wow.
I said, don't even say a word to her. I said, man. Wow. So, and if you want to light her cigarette, I help her pick the lighters and every day for 5 days. So the 5th day, she just called me. She said, Gbenga, can you take all my cigarettes and trash them? I said, what happened? He said, I'll be going to church with you every day, going out with you to go and preach the gospel. I didn't see anybody smoking. I see all of your church everywhere. People treat you with respect. I didn't want to be smoking around you. I went to church. I'll be going to church with you. I'm only saying one thing to God. Take this cigarette, take alcohol from me. Wow. So I can be able to find myself. I said, are you sure? Do it for yourself. I said, don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Don't say you give up smoking because of me. Wow. He said, no, I'm not saying that. He said, it's been 16 years I've been praying to God to take smoke from me. Wow. And he said, I was born and raised in the church too. He said, I wanted to go back to church. I couldn't because of all of the bad things I'm doing. I said, okay. She get rid of the cigarette And the alcohol, they asked me to trash it, and they are trashing. So we started going and said, aren't you going to marry me? I said, we don't marry like that. I don't even know you. You don't even know me. I said, so they say, how long is it going to take you for me to know her? I said, we're going to be going to church for counseling. They're going to advise us. We're going to pray about it. And she just like, is that what I have to do? I said, yeah, that's what we have to do. And guess what? She was like, the following day, we're going to church. She said, I'm not going to enter the church. I said, what happened? She said, because she wear pants. I said, which pants? I said, you don't, because in Nigeria, pants we think is an underwear, but in the US we call it pants. We call it trouser. Or, She said, I wear pants. She said, it's not good for me to wear pants to the church. She said, my parents, when they raised me, none of my siblings ever wear pants. She said, I was the only rebellious one that wear pants. This is why my mom kicked me out at the age of 17. Wow. He said, now I have opportunity of going to church. I made up my mind. I'm not ever going to wear no pants to disrespect Jesus. I said, no, you can come. He said, no. I said, you can see other, there are a lot of people coming to the church with the same pants. He said, yeah, that's for them. He said, but for me, I'm going to sit there by the gate.